We're graduating in June, but before we leave this place for good,
we're checking out some of the best food spots in the area.
I'm Jonah.
And I'm Shannon.
And I'm Tristan.
And this is Grub Before Grad. So we made it to Seoul, Korean cuisine, and we're actually here today with our friend
Tristan.
And Tristan is Chinese, so what are you doing here at a Korean restaurant?
I really like Korean culture and Korean cuisine, especially Korean street food and Korean barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of Korean food, but I find it to be pretty hot and spicy a lot of the time.
I think you can take the spice.
I doubt it, but I guess we'll find out. That's yummy. I like that.
No, it was.
It's like a Korean miso soup. It's egg. Ooh, it's really good. Definitely a lot of matcha. All right, so we're back and it's time to get started with some more ratings, as you know, starting once again with food. Tristan is gonna run through all of the different items we got at Seoul Korean Cuisine.
All right, well, let's start with the appetizers, I guess. Let's start with, I think, the classic tteokbokki. I think it needed more spice personally. As somebody who's eaten it multiple times before, I think it needed more spice, but overall, I think it was a solid dish. It was like a 4.5.
The texture was nailed, sauce was fine, but yeah, it just felt a bit plain when you don't have like the
It was
extra
like
toppings
lacking
in it.
a little something.
Yeah, that's the main thing, and so that's why I would say I would lean closer to like a 3.5.
I would probably rate the tteokbokki 3.5 stars out of 5 stars as well. Just because the first time I had it, it was actually crunchy.
That's not common.
That's not cool.
That is not common at all.
Okay, regardless, I like that one better because I think that one had more sauce on it rather than this one. All the sauce was kind of at the bottom, so if you wanted sauce on it, you kind of had to like go fishing for it. So I would say 3.5 out of 5 stars.
How about we move to the egg soup next? Commonly, it's known as an egg souffle. That's the rough translation from Korean to English. It wasn't special in any way possible like the tteokbokki. I felt it was like lacking something too, so I'd give that like a 3.
I personally really love the egg souffle. I think it's just really fluffy. I love the texture. I love the little bits of like soy sauce, whatever sauce. So I'd probably rate it a 4 out of 5 stars. I love egg. I love that it's fluffy, and I love putting other things on it, like having it with a spoonful of rice or having it with a spoonful of the noodles. It being so versatile that you can kind of have it with anything else on your plate, I think is like a huge plus for me.
I'm somewhere in between the two of them. I think it was a very strong 3.5 out of 5, mostly because it's a pretty plain dish. Like at the end of the day, it's just egg that is kind of like flavored to be like a wonton soup broth. That's basically what I got from it. It's good, it's fluffy, but it's really just egg at the end of the day. And because it's just egg, I can't really rate it above a 3.5. There's not really anything in there that elevates it to a higher level for me. So that's what I would stand with.
Okay, let's move on to the seafood pancake. There was a lot of egg in the batter, and it wasn't as crispy as I'd like it to be. Overall, still probably one of my favorite dishes that we had there, so I'd still give it a 4.
I found that the pancake was a little thick to my liking. The ones that I've had before are a bit thinner, and because of that, it allows it to crisp up. You can't really do that when it's thicker. And so when I've had it, it was a big mouthful. So it was filling, yeah, and it had a lot of seafood in it, which was good. They weren't skimping on that, but it just felt like a lot of food in your mouth at the same time, and I would have preferred a more clean bite. I'm just gonna give it a 3.5 like I've been giving everything else. It just seems pretty okay, yeah.
I personally really like the seafood pancake. I thought it was a nice blend of it being stuffed with seafood and also pancake. I could see how it would be a lot better crispy. I do agree with that. That being said, I think I'd also give it 3.5 stars.
The LA galbi. I found the meat in some areas a bit tough, but it was still good nonetheless. I liked the presentation, I liked the taste. I'd give it a 3.5.
I also found it was pretty good. I feel like I get that a lot at all-you-can-eat sushi places. I do know what that should taste like. I think I'd also give it 3.5 stars. I don't think it was anything great, but it wasn't bad either.
I'm a bit more particular when it comes to meat, especially like Korean barbecue style meats, because I have it quite often. As Tristan said, it was pretty tough. Maybe it was because I got to it a bit late, but I expected it to be more tender, more juicy, and it kind of lacked that. I didn't taste as much marinade as I would like, but there was a nice char to it. I would give it just a 3. It's pretty basic, if not like towing the line of 2.5, so pretty average in my opinion.
Moving on to the kimchi fried rice, or kimchi bokkeumbap as it is in Korean. It's one of my more common orders at a Korean restaurant. I would give it a 4. I would rate it higher if they added a bit more to the dish, because we ordered pork flavor, but I didn't really get any pork. And usually you would get like a fried egg or something. And for the amount that we got, I think there should have been at least 2 eggs.
Now that you mention it, yeah, I didn't even realize, I didn't know it was supposed to be pork flavored. And yeah, I do remember that it's usually served with an egg on top, and we didn't get that, did we?
No,
So
there was no option to order it either, so.
Okay, so then that kind of changes my rating a bit. I thought it was like pretty standard kimchi fried rice. You can't really go wrong with it in terms of like kimchi fried rice. It was kimchi fried rice. It tasted fine. Flavor was on point. The rice wasn't too mushy. It was good. But considering the fact that we don't have the egg or like the pork flavoring to it, I can't put it too high. So I would give that 3 as well.
I also was unaware that the rice was flavored with pork. If no one told me that, I would have just thought it was regular kimchi fried rice. I think it was good. Something else that I haven't had before, but I'd also give it a 3 out of 5 stars.
The japchae. I did like it, but it wasn't as flavorful as other ones I've had. So I'd probably have to rate it a 3, but for the amount that we got, for the price that we got it at, I'd say it was pretty worth it.
I've had japchae before and it was more flavorful, but for the bang for your buck kind of aspect, I thought it was pretty good. I also did like that there are a lot more greens in this one, and I do appreciate that because you do need veggies to balance out your dish. So with that being said, I think I'd give it 3.5 stars out of 5.
I love japchae a lot. I've had it many, many times. And compared to all those other times, I found this to be a bit lacking, mostly because a lot of the noodles kind of congealed together. So when you were trying to get like a small bit, you would end up with a massive clump. That's kind of rough when it comes to noodle dishes. You don't want your noodles to stick together. Also, it just felt like a really basic salty flavor. The meat didn't really feel like it added anything to the dish, nor did the vegetables. And so I have to give that probably a 2.5 because I think it was passable, but not something I look forward to.
Doenjang jjigae, which is Korean stew, soybean stew. Not that great and not that special, so I'd give it a 2.5.
I don't really have the dish often at all. The only thing I could really compare it to is miso soup, as I said. You had tofu, you had seafood. So that was pretty interesting, but just as I wouldn't rate a miso soup extremely high because it's pretty basic, I can't rate this one high either. Also, I don't really know what it's supposed to taste like, but it didn't really blow me away. So I would say 3.5.
I thought the soup was good. It could have used some flavor. Even some spice would have been cool with that. Just anything to kind of give that extra kick, that extra mile to make it really more memorable. I'd still give it 3 out of 5 stars though.
Moving on to drinks. We all got the Dalgona milk tea. I've never actually had Dalgona flavored anything. Overall, I think it was a great drink. I'd definitely get it again. It was like a 4.5 out of me.
I think think the drink was done beautifully. I love the taste of burnt sugar. I loved every part of the drink. I think I could have had easily 8 of those. I think I'd also give it 4.5 stars out of 5.
It was a great balance of flavors, not too sweet because you have the char burnt sugar flavor, but not like in a bad way. The only thing that I didn't like too much was the fact that there was a lot of ice in it. So we ended up getting like a lot less drink than I would expect, especially when we're being charged like a decent amount of money. But other than that, taste was on point and price excluded. It's something I would come back to all the time.
Time for dessert, the best part of the meal. Let's start with the matcha cake. There was a lot of matcha. I guess it was all right. I would have to give it a 3.5 out of 5 just because I've had better matcha stuff and it was a little overpowering.
When we went to Amakara, we complained about the fact that there wasn't a big distinct flavor of matcha when we had the matcha cheesecake there. This matcha cake was the opposite. It was a heck of a lot of matcha, so much that it's just straight bitterness coming into your mouth. I didn't really taste many of the other components, but I don't think it was too bad. I would give it a 3 out of 5.
That cake was gross, bro. Oh my gosh. All chalk, all dirt. And I did not like the cake filling either. I think the only thing I enjoyed was the crust, probably because I could not taste it. Over the taste of matcha and sourness from the cake filling. Easily 2 out of 5 stars, if not 1.5.
The hot dog ice cream red bean pancake dessert. I was expecting a bit more red bean in the pancake. Pancake was also pretty tough. I'd have to give it like a 2.5.
I would rather just have the ice cream with the caramel sauce and toss the red bean pancake to the side. There was red bean, but you could barely taste it over the ice cream and the caramel sauce. The pancake was really tough. I think it either was overdone or just stale or something. I would also give this dessert a fat 2 out of 5 stars, if not 1.5. Actually, I would give it 2 simply because I really love strawberry ice cream and they had strawberry ice cream on it.
I think that the flavor was actually pretty decent. Putting aside the fact that the red bean was pretty much absent from the dish, whatever the heck that thing was pretty good, but the texture was really not it. It was like biting into, I wouldn't go as far as to say that it was cardboard, but it was like if you had left bread out for a little bit too long and it became hard and stale. The ice cream was fine, but you don't really get that for the ice cream. It's supposed to complement it. So with that being said, I would probably give it 2.5 because I haven't had this before. So I'll just say it's average, really. One thing I do want to note about the desserts in general though, something that we didn't mention, is that they're kind of really tiny. For the prices that you pay for them, I would have just expected a little bit more. That's ultimately how I feel about that.
Overall, as somebody who enjoys Korean food a lot, I felt a lot lacking with this meal. So I'd have to give it overall a 3.5 out of 5.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. While the individual dishes aren't too strong, I think when you have it all together, all those different flavors and textures, a much better meal comprehensively. And so with that being said, I would probably give it a 3.5 as well.
None of the dishes were like super standout. None of them were super bad except for the desserts. So I'd also give a 3.5 stars out of 5 just for the overall quality of the dishes as well as the speed that the food came out in actually as well.
Service-wise, it was good, with there only being one person there to serve the whole restaurant. The waitress was very nice, she was very accommodating. Honestly, I give service like a 3.5 out of 5. I just wish there would be more people there to help her out.
She was very quick, she was very nice. She laughed when you said kamsamida. I thought that was really funny. I definitely give her 4 out of 5 stars.
I feel like I'm drawing a lot of comparisons to Amakara, but service-wise, it felt very similar. It's an understaffed place, but despite being understaffed, it felt like they were doing their very best. We got our food extremely fast. Our table became overloaded very quickly by a ton of different items. So clearly, they're really on top of it. Granted, we were like one of 2 tables, but still, that many dishes within 10 minutes is still pretty impressive. Maybe she was a bit slow in taking the dishes back from the table, but outside of that, I think she was a great person and she did a very good job. So I would give it a 4.5.
The atmosphere of the restaurant was homey. It made you feel cozy from the cold. Overall, I give it a solid 3.
It really wasn't very special of an interior. Honestly, it wasn't even that good looking overall. Like some places were very barren, whereas others were decorated a lot. There were a couple walls with like a lot of those like chalkboard signs and pictures, and I like the Christmas tree and I like the bar and stuff. But given that it wasn't very consistent in how it formed the whole interior, I can't really rate it as like some place that has a really high quality interior. So I would probably give it a 3 out of 5 as well.
This place was just Korean Amakara, but one thing that they did worse was the atmosphere. It was very plain on on the other half of the restaurant. Without the Christmas tree, it definitely would have been like very barren. I would probably give it 3 stars out of 5.
Moving on to final thoughts, I gotta ask you, Tristan, at the end of the day, when we're considering everything all together, would you recommend this place to people who are looking for Korean food in St. Catharines?
I would definitely recommend this place to everyone else. It is a great place to take your first steps into Korean cuisine.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There definitely isn't a lot of diversity here, as you can tell in terms of like the food offered. So there aren't many other Korean options in this area. So that being said, you might as well try out this one, right? If you haven't tried it, try it out for the first time. If you have had it, it scratches the itch of Korean cuisine while not being the best thing in the world. It still gives you that taste of Korean cuisine, which is nice.
All in all, I think it was a very good experience. I definitely would go back again. I recommend it to anyone that wants to try Korean food for the first time because they do have a lot of dishes like rice and noodles where you know what you're eating. Check them out.
You heard it from us. It's definitely a place you should try at least once, and then from there you can see if you like it or not, but we definitely encourage you to give it a try. So with that being said, thank you all for watching, and we will see you at our next meal.